to In the Pocket with Rich Gannon. Rich, I am so glad to get this opportunity to talk to you after yesterday's game. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Erin, you and I were just talking. I was on my way to the airport after my Houston Texans game, and I was Houston Colts game, trying to get the scoring summaries. And I'm just getting bombarded on social media about, I can't believe the Raiders lost, and that was a devastating loss. And I'm like, wait a minute, isn't the game still going on? It's amazing how many people on social media with inside of 2 minutes just basically assumed the game was over.
And it only took 13 seconds for Derek Carr, of course, to find the rookie. And that's where I think we should start, because let's talk about that game-winning touchdown, courtesy of the rookie, Henry Ruggs, who had that fumble earlier and that tip pass that, of course, led to the interception earlier in the game. After the game, John Gruden spoke to the character Ruggs showed. In your opinion, how did you interpret what the coach said about the resiliency of not only the rookie, but also the team?
Well, I think it speaks volumes of Henry Ruggs that he hung in there and battled. There's something special about him. You know, he's got some real toughness. Just going back to week 1 against Carolina and how he played in that game, and then the injury, the soft tissue injury that he had, he battled through that and was practicing and doesn't want to take plays off. And I think he's a tough guy mentally and physically. And I think we saw that again yesterday when he had the deflected ball that obviously was intercepted. And of course he had a critical fumble in the game. And yet he didn't panic. He just kept his head down and he kept grinding. And of course the route, the last play of the game, that route was just amazing. I mean, I think we really get a feel for his straight line speed. I mean, he just went right by the corner, and that was obviously, every season I think, Erin, has a turning point. And for the Raiders, that play, that game could be the turning point in what could be a playoff season for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Absolutely. Great point indeed. And a lot of people too wondering when we were going to get the rookie involved. And certainly what a confidence boost to end the game like that, especially when you had a couple of fumbles. One fumble certainly in the middle of the game. Look, I cannot not talk about what Darren Waller did yesterday. 200 receiving yards as a tight end. Only 4 tight ends, by the way, have been able to do that in NFL history. And the crazy part, Rich, and I'm curious to get your take on this, is he hasn't even really reached his full potential yet.
No, I think we're just seeing the beginning of something special with Darren Waller. I mean, 7 touchdowns, Erin, already this season. It's 2 more than he had in his first 4 seasons. I mean, just think about the production. And I just think that he hasn't reached his full potential, as you said. I think he's continuing to get better as a route runner. I think he's continuing to be more disruptive in the middle of the field on 3rd down and in the red zone. I mean, he's a handful. There's only a handful of players like him at the tight end position in our game. You can line him up anywhere. He can be an inline player. You can line him up in the slot. You can line him up outside the numbers. And he really runs routes like a wide receiver, not a tight end.
Yeah, and you've even complimented his ability to block on the outside, and he's just a guy that is a matchup nightmare. We talk about him all the time on our Raiders post-game show, what he's able to do, because I think heading into the game, a lot of people were concerned not having Josh Jacobs available, what that offense would look like on game day in the event that they were going to take away the run with the Greg Williams, 11th best run D. You thought maybe that might have been a challenge, but Darren Waller just seemed to be his worst nightmare when it came to game day. Let's get your take on the defense, though. They had an up and down game. They lost Damon Arnett early. They didn't have Jonathan Abram, but Clee Ferrell continues to find ways to shine. He came up with 2 big turnovers in the game, Rich.
Yeah, 2 big sacks. I mean, that's important for him. To get him going. I think he's been a work in progress. I think he's developing more pass rush moves, Erin. He came out of college at Clemson and he was a speed rusher. I think he's developing more power inside. I think he's developing a bull rush. I think he's developing a couple moves off of that. And I think that, this could, we always talk about a turning point. We just talked about it for the Raiders and for Henry Ruggs. Maybe this is a turning point for Clelin Ferrell. He hasn't had the dominating performances. He hasn't had the consistent performances week in and week out. And sometimes it takes a while for a guy to kind of find his way and develop some more techniques and fundamentals and more pass rush moves. But I think we're seeing a player that's getting better each time out.
Yeah, and you miss him when he isn't available, certainly. Okay, well, let's look ahead to next week because you called the game between the Colts and Texans. You know what the Raiders are going to get when they take on the Colts. What can they expect when it comes to their old foe in Phillip Rivers? And of course, his playmakers on offense. T.Y. Hilton had a huge game as well.
Yeah, T.Y. Hilton had a good game. It's his first 100-yard receiving game of the season. But let's start with Phillip Rivers. He's not 100% healthy, Aaron. He's got a toe injury that's really bothered him, kept him out of practice a bit last week. I would imagine he'd miss Wednesday's practice this week. But he's still Phillip Rivers, right? He's 39 years old. I think it's 4 of the last 5 seasons, he's failed to get his team to the postseason. I think he feels a sense of urgency. He's running out of time. This is a good football team. He's getting rid of the ball quickly. He's not holding on to it. It comes out quick. So the pass rush, it's going to be a frustrating day. He's not going to sit back there and take 2 or 3 hitches. The ball comes out quick. It's really a passing game that features the short and intermediate throws. And I think the defense, to me, is probably the best unit. I mean, they got DeForest Buckner back last week, Nico Autry. They're really good inside. They can push and collapse the pocket. And they've got Darius Leonard, who I think is probably the best middle linebacker in football right now. He is a tackling machine. He's a good blitzer. This is a well-coached defense, and I think the Raiders are going to need a great week of preparation offensively.
Well, and let's talk about that great week of preparation and what they need to do when it comes to the offense, because like you mentioned, that Colts defense swarms the pocket. They sacked Deshaun Watson, I believe, 5 times yesterday. So what's in it for Derek Carr and that offensive line? And maybe some good news is potentially they'll get Trent Brown back. And then hopefully Josh Jacobs can, get back to the identity of the Raiders offense. But what do you think Derek Carr is going to need to do against that defense?
Well, he's going to have to do what he normally does, and that's get the ball out quick. Derek's a quick decision maker. He doesn't hold it. It comes out quick. He knows where his quick answer throws are. That's going to be important early, I think, to take the edge off the pass rush. I think the screen game is going to be important. Getting Trent Brown back would be huge to be able to solidify the right side of that offensive line. Not only that, but to be able to help them in terms of the running game. And I just think the key is Josh Jacobs. I just think when you do a case study of the Raiders offense with a healthy Josh Jacobs, with and without, it's dramatically different. I mean, his ability to pound and chip away to defense, his ability to wear down a defense over the course of a 60-minute game is significant. And I just think getting him back will be huge for the next 4 games.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you saw the unevenness when it came to the offense. I believe Derek Carr threw the ball over 45 times, and you want to be able to have a little bit more balanced offense. Certainly when going against the Colts. Rich Gannon, we always appreciate getting some time with you. Thank you very much.
Erin, you're the best. Talk to you next week.